Let us pray. Almighty God, we who have called us to govern this province, we ask your help to make decisions and laws that will be just and will promote the interests of our people. Almagtige God, ons bid dat u gedurende ons vergaderings ons die nodige wysheid sal gee en ons motiewe suiwer sal hou en dat u ons sal help om ons tekortkominge te oorkom en al ons besluite aan u op te dra. Sikelela iliswe letu nabantu balo umisili kulungu kwipondo letu. Kosi sikelela i Afrika kinga bantwana bayo kokela inkokeli zayo yiniki ukolo i Afrika. All this we beg in your holy name. Amen. You may be seated. I would like to take this opportunity to greet everyone good morning, and to our many and distinguished esteemed guests, welcome. It is a pleasure to host you at the Western Cape Provincial Parliament today, and also just to draw your attention to the fact that as guests you are not allowed to participate in the proceedings, but we trust that you will enjoy the session with us. At this point, I'd like to call the House to order. I have to announce that in terms of Rule 14 of the standing rules today, the 19th of February 2016 at 10:30 has been determined as the date and time for the Premier's State of the Province address. I now afford the Honourable Premier the opportunity to address the House on this occasion. Honourable Premier.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Honourable members of the Provincial Cabinet, Honourable Mayor of Cape Town, it's wonderful to see you here, Honourable Leader of the Opposition, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Honourable leaders of political parties, members of the National Assembly who are here today, thank you very much for coming, and members of the National Council of Provinces, Honourable members of the Provincial Legislature, Director General of the Western Cape, who's watching on a television screen, and we wish him all the best and a speedy recovery, and all of the DG's colleagues, some of whom are here today, heads of provincial departments in the box, leaders of local government, religious leaders, community leaders, colleagues, friends, and of course, most important, all the citizens of the Western Cape who may be watching on television. It is an honour to open this parliamentary session in an extraordinary time for our country. It is a time of great risk for our economy, but also a time for optimism about the supremacy of our Constitution. During our recess, Madam Speaker, I read a profound two-volume work that made a major impact on me. It is Francis Fukuyama's masterpiece, The Origins of Political Order and Political Decay. Without going into detail, let me summarize the book in one sentence. Fukuyama identifies three essential elements for sustained progress and well-being in a democracy. These are the rule of law, accountability, and the capable state. Our own history has taught us many lessons about the importance of the rule of just law and of accountability. But analysts have tended to neglect the third crucial component, a capable state. Sir Michael Barber, who designed the methodology behind the game-changing programs I will present today, said to us in conversation once that building a capable state is the great moral imperative of our time. The more I think about it, the more I agree, Madam Speaker. We can have any number of fine-sounding intentions, but if there is no capacity to turn them into reality, we are nothing but a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal, as Corinthians put it, or sound and fury signifying nothing, as Shakespeare said. The past 10 days have shown us that our Constitution and the rule of law are holding their own. And now, South Africa needs the third critical variable, the capable state, and we will succeed in a democracy if we get that right. It is this government's commitment to build this crucial component for a decent life in the one province where we govern, and I mean a decent life for all. We have come some way along this road, as I hope to reflect today, Madam Speaker, but we still have a way to go. The best proof of progress is that Cape Town has become a magnet for young people. It has gained a global reputation of being a city characterized by creativity and innovation,
members.
Pulsating with youthful energy. Everywhere there are young entrepreneurs and innovators, highly motivated to make a difference in our society.
Order, please, Premier. Please take your seat. Members, interjections are allowed, but ongoing heckling drowns out the speaker, and it makes it difficult for our guests to keep pace with what is happening. So I'd ask, please interject, but ongoing heckling will not be allowed. Thank you. You may proceed, Premier.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Yet in our midst, there are hundreds of thousands of young people marginalized from the modern economy and disproportionately damaged by broken families, alcohol, drugs, and violence. The positive vibrancy of Cape Town is not their experience. And so we asked ourselves, are there some key things we can do to inject hope into the lives of all of the young people in the Western Cape? We set about our new term of office with this in mind, having a targeted approach to create conditions for a flourishing economy and creating a place of hope for all our youth and indeed all our people. In the past year, we have honed 7 game changers to be place makers for the Western Cape. They are designed to ensure that our young people, in particular, are able to tap into the opportunities of a 21st century society and economy. It is to them, Madam Speaker, that I dedicate the remaining 3 years of my premiership and this State of the Province address today. The reason I'm confident of progress is the competence and dedication of the professionals who work in this government, to whom I pay great tribute today, led by our Director General and the heads of department. For evidence of their quality, Speaker, one need only look at the outcome of the 2015 Public Service Awards at a national ceremony held by the National Department of Public Service and Administration. Madam Speaker, every gold, silver, and bronze award nationally for departments and heads of departments across all government departments in South Africa went to the Western Cape. Evidence that we are building the federal state. Madam Speaker.
Order, please.
Madam Speaker.
Order, please, Honourable Davids. If
I
could
only
call
tell
you
the
to
truth
order,
in
please.
this House and everywhere else.
Premier, you need
So
to speak to the chair,
may I
please.
just repeat?
Thank you.
You want to-
Sorry, do not engage the members. Speak through the chair,
that's right.
please. Thank you.
Certainly, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, just may I repeat that sentence? Every gold, silver, and bronze award in the DIPSA presentations went to the Western Cape. And Madam Speaker, every one of our 13 departments received a financially unqualified audit outcome, with 12 receiving completely clean audits. Our Education Department became the first in the history of democratic South Africa to get a clean audit.
Order, please.
Now, Madam Speaker,
Order, please.
I think it is worth mentioning here that a clean audit is a uniquely South African invention. It adds
Order,
two
please.
factors.
Sorry, Premier, could you take your seat, please? Members, honourable members, we are here today to listen to the State of the Province address. We have an opportunity earmarked. We have an opportunity earmarked next week for debate and questions. If we could afford the Premier the opportunity to present, I'm certain we would all appreciate that. I don't mind interjections, but ongoing running commentary drowning out the Speaker will not be allowed. Thank you. You may proceed, Premier. Honourable Chacham, are you rising on a point of order?
Yes. I want to know, Speaker.
Order, please, members. There's a Speaker on the floor.
I will SMS the rule to you if you don't know. Rule is, Speaker, can we allow to be misled in this House? And when we know, because we have a right to correct a member when he's misleading the House.
Honourable Chacham, your point
She's misleading us now.
Honourable Chacham, may I address you? As the presiding officer, I am here to ensure that procedurally we get through this session. I cannot stand in judgment of what is being said, and you will have an opportunity to address any concerns you may have at the debate session. So if we may continue, you may proceed, Premier.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. As I was saying, a clean audit is a uniquely South African invention. It adds two factors to the normal requirements of being financially unqualified. It requires achieving measurable, predetermined outcomes and complying with a complex regulatory maze of laws and regulations in all aspects of our work. This is remarkably complex, Madam Speaker. But not only do we go to great lengths to comply, we also innovate. This year, our red tape reduction unit asked our public servants to propose ways of cutting red tape, and we received almost 700 suggestions. Madam Speaker, 700 people in this administration took the trouble to share ideas of how to make government more efficient and more streamlined. That reflects a mindset which is crucial to building a capable and efficient state. Honourable Speaker, I will begin by focusing on the economy. At a time of mass unemployment nationwide, that is where our focus must be. A capable state delivers the services and creates the confidence that are preconditions for investment. And investment is a precondition for economic growth. And economic growth is a precondition for job creation. History has taught us there are no shortcuts to sustainable job creation in a democracy. And interestingly, everyone in South Africa across the ideological spectrum now accepts this as a given. This is a big change from the past and a very welcome change, Madam Speaker. The Western Cape government's job is to get this pipeline right: confidence, investment, growth, and jobs, so that our people, and many more of them, can get to work. We are doing everything possible to make the Western Cape succeed, Madam Speaker, because we want South Africa to succeed. Our job is to get the Western Cape to succeed, which is our contribution to making South Africa succeed. Business confidence in the provincial economy is an important indicator of whether the climate is right for investment and job creation. In our province, we have seen an upward trend in confidence, despite, unfortunately, declining levels nationally. Business confidence in the Western Cape is currently at 57 index points, which is 13 points above the national figure. Today, Madam Speaker, there are over 200,000 more jobs in the Western Cape than there were when we took office in 2009. We have managed...
Please. Order. Order, please, members.
We have managed to recover from and grow jobs since the global recession. The unemployment rate has gone down over the last 3 years. Hi, bayang ngola nyan.
Order, please, members.
Madam Speaker, may I refer the honourable members to the quarterly labour force survey released by Statistics South Africa, because then they will get the proper figures. Because this is the National Statistics South Africa that produces the quarterly labour force survey, and that shows that the unemployment rate has gone down over the last 3 years from 24.8% in 2012 to 20.6% as we sit here now of September 2015.
Order,
And Madam
please.
Speaker, that decline in unemployment is truly remarkable given the rate of population growth in this province. Although our unemployment rate is still much too high, and it is still much too high, at least we are moving in the right direction.
Order, please, members. I need to protect the speaker. There's too much noise. And can I ask that the gallery also? Thank you. You may proceed, Premier.
We are seeing a significant uptake, Speaker, in infrastructure and real estate investment, which is a leading indicator that investors are confident and committed for the long term and are prepared to commit their capital to create jobs. The number of square metres of building plans approved in the province showed a significant increase in 2014-15. In a 12-month period ending August last year, 654,000 square metres of commercial and residential developments were approved for construction in the Western Cape, almost 9 times the 75,000 square metres approved in Gauteng in the same period, according to Statistics South Africa. Construction projects not only reflect confidence, Madam Speaker, but they also create jobs. Our economic growth rate may be higher than the national average, but it is not yet high enough. And tough headwinds are buffeting South Africa's economy, many of which are of our national government's own making. Economic growth is slowing nationally and is now projected to be just 0.7% this year. All provinces will feel the impact.
Order, please, members.
Credit institutions whose opinions matter to investors are close to downgrading our currency to junk status, and the rand has depreciated dramatically against international currencies. President Jacob Zuma recently informed premiers that severe budget cuts will apply across the board for the next 3 years. This is due, in the main, to the unmandated national wage increase of 7.2%, which actually amounts to a real increase of 10% if additional benefits are factored in. This is, Madam Speaker, significantly above inflation, and South Africa just doesn't have the money to pay for it. Faced with a budget cut running into hundreds of millions of rands per year in this province alone, we are left with 3 choices. The first is to find ways of capping the wage increase at 5.5%, which is the amount for which we were told to budget by the National Treasury. The second is to insist that the National Treasury cover the shortfall. And the third is to take the option presented to us by the Presidency and effect back office rationalizations to fund frontline services, or a combination of all 3. The cost of employment in our public service nationwide is close to 500 billion, which is completely unsustainable. In the Western Cape, we are generally not overstaffed, as comparative statistics with other provinces actually quite dramatically show. But a further threat to growth, Madam Speaker, is the severe drought and the fires that have ravaged many parts of this province. the drought has had a significant impact on agriculture, which is a central pillar of our provincial economy. Our early estimate is that there will be a 10% reduction in agricultural production. Food inflation is also likely to strain residents across this province. We are seeking 88 million rand from national government for drought relief, and we are contributing our own resources as well. Emerging farmers will receive an emergency support package from provincial funds to help them survive this very difficult period. The package includes subsidies for farm worker wages and 6,500 rand a month for 6 months to ensure food security. Farmers are also rallying to help each other, and we were privileged to be involved in the generous donation of 100 tons of feed to farms in need. Izandla ziyahlambana. Ons hande was mekaar. In this context, I want to say a few words about the attacks made on the Western Cape government by the ANC in Parliament during the State of the Nation debate. There were many examples of disinformation about this province in a context where we cannot reply.
Please.
Let me just take one particularly disingenuous example from this week's debate. The Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Becky Cele, alleged the Western Cape had only spent 5% of flood relief funds provided to us by the National Department. Madam Speaker, that is not true. We have spent 99% of the amount, which will soon rise to 100% of the flood relief, and we have spent it on flood relief, and none has found its way into any of our pockets. Deputy Minister Cele knows what the truth is, and it is this. His department provided the money to us just 1 month before the end of the financial year. And anyone who understands public finance and major construction projects, Speaker, knows that it is impossible to rebuild roads and bridges that have been washed away in just 1 month. This is why we asked for a rollover of the funds to the next financial year so that we could utilize the funds properly and in full. And when national ministers speak about allocating resources to the Western Cape as if they are doing us a favour, let me remind them that this province allocates considerably more to the national fiscus than we get in return. We are happy to cross-subsidise poorer provinces, Madam Speaker, but in these circumstances, it is inappropriate to treat us like sponges in the system. Honourable Speaker, this year's fire season has been particularly bad, with scores of vineyards, citrus trees, rooibos tea, fynbos, and timber plantations destroyed. In particular,
Order, please. Order, please, members.
That's a disgrace of the DA. That's a disgrace of the DA. You ignore people.
Honourable Dugmore. Order, please. Premier, take your seat,
Madam
please.
Speaker,
Premier, there's a member.
Madam Speaker, I'm currently discussing the economy, and obviously every individual is critical to our economy. And Madam Speaker, the particular point that I want to make, and always make, and that this government, including the City of Cape Town, always makes, is that we are the only province and the only government that continues to support people with starter kits to rebuild their homes, to help reblocking, and to do everything that needs to be done. And clearly,
Order, please.
and clearly, Madam Speaker, the absolute tragedy of fires in informal settlements is something that we spend more of a focus and more money on and more commitment to than any other province.
Order, please, members. Honourable Davids.
And any other province. So it's an absolute tragedy that people lose their houses, and we will continue
Premier,
to
please
give
take your
people
seat.
more support than they get in any other city and in any other
Thank you.
province.
Premier, will you take your seat, please? Chief Whip Wiley, before you stood up, I just wanted to address Honourable David. As I said, interjections are allowed, but engaging in a running commentary and debating the factual situation is not appropriate. I would ask that you refrain from commenting on every single statement that is made because it's becoming disruptive in terms of our proceedings. Interjections are allowed, but you cannot simply keep launching comments back while we have a speaker on the floor. Thank you. I trust I will receive your cooperation going forward. You may proceed, Premier.
Thank you very much. And this House, obviously, and I hope that the opposition will join me in expressing our grave concern and our sincere condolences to every family, wherever they were, whether in Masiphumelele or Imizamo Yethu, or wherever they were, who lost a house or a shack, and most particularly if they lost a loved one. We estimate that over 30,000 hectares of agricultural land was lost in the Citrusdale area, 16,000 hectares in the Ceres region, 8,000 in Villiersdorp and surrounds, and 4,000 hectares in the Overberg district. It will take time, Madam Speaker, for the industry to recover from these losses. There is no doubt that thousands of hectares have been saved from destruction and many, many homes saved from fire due to the exceptional institutional efficiency built up in our disaster management program over the years. In 2012, we decided on a rapid attack program to fight wildfires. Back then, there were just 8 firefighting aircraft servicing the entire province. And it would be very good for the opposition to recall that when we first came to office in the city in 2006, there was no capacity left at all to fight urban or rural fires. It had been destroyed by the previous administration. And since we took over, we have rebuilt an incredible service that saves lives, protects property, and protects our economy. And so there were only 5 aircraft, and today there are 26 aircraft operating across 31 runways. Over the last 4 years, 97% of fires have been brought under control within the first hour of being reported. This is an extraordinary statistic. On behalf of the Western Cape residents, thank you to all the firefighters, professionals from all 5 district municipalities, local municipalities, and the City of Cape Town. The staff from Cape Nature, Sandparks, and the Working on Fire program. We acknowledge the efforts of the members of the Fire Protection Associations, volunteer wildfire services, and private contractor teams. Pilots from the South African Air Force and the private sector also contributed greatly, as did the South African Defence Force Joint Operations Centre and the National Disaster Management Centre, and we thank them very much. We are deeply grateful to have witnessed no firefighter fatalities this fire season. And we will never forget the bravery of those who lost their lives in the 2014 season. And I think it is appropriate for us to remember them today. Andrew Jantjies, Nazim Davies, Hendrik Bies Mare, Daryl Ray, and Justin Fasahi. It is my pleasure today to extend a warm welcome to Etienne du Toit, Deputy Director, Fire Brigade Services. Mr. du Toit, where are you? We would like to see you, sir. There you are. Thank you very much. I can see that you're trying to sit in the background, but we're very proud of you. And we're proud of all the people that you lead, and I'll tell you why. Etienne is responsible for the planning and execution of all air operations and is on duty 24/7 every day between November and January every year. No Christmas or New Year for him and his team. He goes to all major fires in the province at all hours where he provides invaluable support to the fire services on the ground. He and his team are some of the real unsung heroes of our fire program and therefore of our province. Thank you very much indeed. Their service is an essential part of the capable state required for growth and job creation. Besides, a capable state is an essential condition for attracting investment. Capable state is an essential condition for attracting investment. Let's measure ourselves, Madam Speaker, against that yardstick. Speaker, over the last 5 years, we secured over 11 billion rand in investments across 79 projects in the Western Cape through our investment agency, Wesgrow. This investment has created 6,849 jobs. Over 3,700 Western Cape companies were assisted with exports, and 960 exporters were taken on trade missions to secure markets. More than 4,300 jobs servicing international clients have been created by our Economic Development Department strategy to promote the Western Cape as a global location for offshore business and IT services. The business process outsourcing industry now accounts for 16,000 jobs in this province, up 37% from last year, Madam Speaker. Our red tape reduction unit is increasingly proving to be a major enabler of investment. Their business helpline has resolved 4,700 queries to date, an 85% success rate overall. They are now expanding their services to 13 municipalities with a goal of streamlining the approval of building plans and progress to attract investors. Honourable Speaker, over the year, we have institutionalised our commitment to an enabling environment for business. Supporting small and medium enterprises has been central to this strategy. We have invested 50 million rand in over 300 enterprises in the last 3 years via our Enterprise Development Unit in partnership with the National Empowerment Fund. The enterprises who received our help are showing 15 to 20% increase in their turnover and have added 700 new jobs between them. This support is not restricted to urban businesses, Madam Speaker. Our Agriculture Department partners with the private sector to support emerging smallholder and commercial farmers to gain access to markets. Over 250 such smallholder and commercial farmers benefited from this support in the last 5 years, an investment of over 1 billion rand. We are hosting an annual funding fair, a platform for small businesses to pitch to investors for funding, much like the popular television show Dragon's Den. This is a partnership we have with the accounting and consulting multinational company Deloitte. Over 1,200 people attended last year's funding fair, including investors and exhibitors. The next fair is on the 25th of May this year, and applications are closing soon for enterprises who want to be involved. Training for entrepreneurs is the focus of our emerging business support program. Over 200 entrepreneurs have been trained in 2 years. High-quality mentorship is offered by business schools, successful business people, and commercial enterprises. It is now common knowledge that Cape Town is South Africa's tech startup capital. We are doing our bit to support this growth in this most innovative industry. From the time we launched the Bandwidth Barn in Khayelitsha, this small business incubator has gone from strength to strength. Khayelitsha, Madam Speaker, is becoming a hub of innovation. The Barn has launched an agri-tech initiative that helps 76 urban growers to bolster technology for agriculture. They are also assisting the informal retail sector to boost competitiveness by using technology. We currently have 300 spaza shops participating in that program, with a focus on the Mitchells Plain Khayelitsha corridor. The Barn in Woodstock is running a program called RISE, a partnership with Barclays Africa, offering 30 million rand for IT startups to develop financial technology. And I am pleased to welcome today.
Order, please, members.
I'm pleased, Madam Speaker, to welcome today a special guest who symbolises the success of our local fintech industry. Mr. Katlego Mapai. Where are you, Mr. Mapai? Upi, Pakama. That's Mr. Katlego Mapai. Mr. Katlego Mapai is co-founder and managing director of Yoko, an enterprise that aims to reduce the complexity of processing payments for small and medium-sized businesses in South Africa. Yoko has developed an integrated card payment and point-of-sale solution that includes their mobile app and either a plug-in card reader or a wireless card reader. They officially launched in October 2015 after a year-long beta program with over 500 merchants. They now have over 700 merchants on their platform, processing over $1.3 million monthly in card payments and counting. That is really spectacular.
Premier, sorry, Premier, would you take your seat, please? Honourable Davis, you're rising on a point of
Honourable
order.
Gillian, Madam Speaker.
Gillian, sorry. Gillian.
Madam Speaker, can you please see that the gallery who is participating into this debate can be called into order, please?
I shall do so. May I ask our guests in the gallery, as part of our proceedings, you're not allowed to participate, so if you could refrain from clapping, it would be appreciated. Thank you. Your point is noted. You may proceed, Premier.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Our investment agency, Wesgrow, has been helping along the way to link Yoko to potential partners and provide access to networking forums. We celebrate the success of Yoko and the many other enterprises that have chosen Cape Town as their home. May you all go from strength to strength, and may we do what we have to do to create a conducive environment for you. Recognizing successful entrepreneurs now has a special place in this government's annual calendar. The Premier's Entrepreneurship Recognition Awards is expanding each year and now includes 12 categories with prize money totaling 1.8 million rand. Madam Speaker, through Project Kulisa, we have identified a set of priority economic sectors with the potential for accelerated growth and job creation. These are tourism, oil and gas, and agri-processing. The tourism sector today employs 200,000 people with a gross value add of 17 billion rand to the provincial economy.
Order, please.
Project Kulisa aims to add up to a further 120,000 jobs by 2019 under a high growth scenario. And we hope that this will increase the value add by 65% to 28 billion rand. That is a stretch target, Minister Windy, if ever I saw one. The conference industry, Madam Speaker, is essential to this growth. In the past 5
Order,
years,
please,
over
Premier.
120 conference bids with an
Premier,
economic
order.
impact of
Sorry,
20...
Premier, can I ask you to take your seat, please? Members, we cannot have a debate across the room while we have a speaker on the floor. Minister Fritz, I'm not singling you out, but I think you seem to be agitating, and similarly to the members on the other side. Can we have one speaker on the floor, please? Let's afford the Premier the opportunity. Thank you. You may proceed, Premier.
Thank you very much indeed, Madam Speaker. The conference industry is essential to this growth. In the past 5 years, over 120 conference bids with an economic impact of 25.4 billion rand have been secured in the Western Cape. We are aiming to increase these figures through a dedicated program to attract new conferences and boost the number of delegates who attend them. The second phase of the Cape Town International Convention Centre, a major infrastructure project currently under construction, is a key lever to achieve this. We fought tooth and nail, Madam Speaker, for sensible visa regulations, and we are happy to see progress being made, although implementation has been far too slow. Despite this, December 2015 was Cape Town International Airport's busiest month in history. International arrivals increased by over 20,000. International arrivals increased by over 20,000 year on year for the last 3 months of 2015, and domestic arrivals increased by 40,000 in December alone. And you can imagine, Madam Speaker, that if the visa regulations had been sensible, how much further our economy could have been boosted. Our agri-processing target is to create up to an additional 100,000 formal jobs by 2019. I have difficulty reading these numbers, not because I can't read them, but because they are so big. 100,000 formal jobs by 2019, with a 126% increase in GVA to 26 billion rand per year. The El Niño drought cycle is a major challenge, but we are still pursuing these stretch targets. Cabinet has approved 3 main focus areas for the sector: becoming a major player in the global halal market. And secondly, increasing exports of wine and brandy with a focus on China and Angola, but many other countries besides. And thirdly, improving local production capacity for domestic and key strategic markets, especially on the African continent. Minister Winde will announce more details of these plans in his upcoming budget speech, but I will mention just one today. A vital resource for the success of agri-processing, Speaker, is water. The Greater Broadband Irrigation Project is a mega rural development that aims to irrigate another 4,400 hectares of land in the Breda River and Langeberg municipalities. It is estimated that this project will create 8,000 primary and 6,500 secondary rural jobs. We are working in partnership with 10 other organs of state. The key objective is to increase the height of the Broadband Dam's inlet canal so that more water flows into the dam, which means that more water rights can be allocated. And we are committed, Madam Speaker, to ensuring that these rights create opportunities for emerging farmers to get a strong foothold in the agricultural economy. The third Khulisa sector, oil and gas, as you know, Madam Speaker, is going through a period of oil price volatility. For this sector, this is comparable to the drought we are experiencing in agriculture. Companies need to be cost-efficient in their operations during this time. It is important that we ensure that it is easy and cost-effective for investors to do business in the Saldanha Industrial Development Zone, on which there's been a lot of progress. So our red tape unit is undertaking its most important project to date, determining the cost to the economy of red tape in Project Khulisa sectors, including oil and gas. The ease of doing business must improve for this industry to reach its full potential, and of course the national government has a key role to play through the Minerals and Petroleum Resources Development Amendment Bill. And the longer that bill is delayed, the more it will be impossible to get the ocean's economy off the ground. We foresee that a further 60,000 jobs can be created in this industry by 2019, provided we follow a high growth scenario and provided we have sensible national policies which are required to create the right conditions for investment. We have to work with national government to achieve this, and we are very committed to doing so. Over 200 million rand has been committed to the IDZ until the end of this financial year. Progress there includes the construction of bulk services and completed port development designs, and we have been working very well with the requisite national departments to do that. We are working in partnership with the Department of Trade and Industry, the Saldanha Municipality, and the Industrial Development Corporation in what we hope will become a model of cooperative governance. Honourable Speaker, up until this point, I've outlined how investment vehicles, enterprise support programs, and Project Khulisa have become central to our economic strategy. It is on this foundation, developed over the years since taking office in 2009, that we are now building our game changers. Madam Speaker, we have identified the key levers that we believe will accelerate delivery of our long-term vision, which is to foster a highly skilled, innovation-driven, resource-efficient, connected, high-opportunity society for all. Game changers focus either on our greatest challenges or our best opportunities, and sometimes both come together. In the last year, we have made progress in the design and execution of each of these game changers, through which we hope to accelerate economic growth, job creation, and social inclusion. Let me start with skills, Madam Speaker. To support the growth targets of our priority economic sectors, skills development in the technical and vocational education and training, which is shortened to TVET, that's Technical, Vocational Education and Training, or TVET sector, has become identified as a game changer. Over the next 3 years, at least 534 million rand will be committed to this game changer by the Western Cape government and its partners, the sector education and training authorities, as well as the Department of Higher Education and Training through public TVET colleges. Our aim is to grow intermediate level skills, increase apprenticeships, and promote technical vocational education and training qualifications. Collectively, more than 120 million rand will be allocated to supporting young people in work placement opportunities in 2016-17, with the biggest investment coming from our provincial government in close partnership with the private sector through the SETAs. The big challenge is to ensure that economic growth supports the requirement of job placements for these young aspiring artisans. We have set ourselves ambitious targets. We realize they are highly susceptible to economic conditions, but we are putting in extensive effort and expertise to achieve them by 2019. Provisionally, our targets are 20,000 TVET learners available for priority jobs in priority sectors, which is close to treble the estimated 7,500 graduates this year. And then our second aim is 16,000 TVET learners achieving 80% positive assessments from their TVET learning programs, which amounts to over 2.5 times the estimated 6,000 this year. And thirdly, 12,800 graduates, or 80% employed or self-employed entrepreneurs, up more than 3 times the estimated baseline of 4,800 this year. So you can see, Madam Speaker, what stretch targets these are. Critical to the success of this game changer is the private sector. If learners cannot find apprenticeships, they cannot qualify as artisans or other qualified TVET occupational graduates. We therefore call on business to work in partnership with us to increase the apprenticeship opportunities available in the province. And we thank them for their commitment to our partnership programs in the past. A major skills component is also a feature of our expanded public works program. Over 400,000 job opportunities were created through our EPWP program between 2009 and 2015, exceeding targets by 135%, according to the latest national government figure. It's nice to exceed your targets by 135%. We have for some years now also been running a work and skills program. To date, over 5,100 youth have been trained, and a further 2,200 will be trained, and 1,400 placed in industry to gain workplace experience in the coming financial year. Over 3,600 young people have benefited from internships in the public service since we began the Premier's Advancement of Youth project in 2012, and these are all provincial projects. We will spend over 26 million rand in the coming year to advance this project, because giving the young people of our province opportunities in life is our top priority, including in this government. Honourable Speaker, I now turn to another vital enabler for a growing economy, and that is electricity supply. We are all well aware of the energy shortage our country is facing. The respite from load shedding is just that, a respite, and not the end of it. We also know what rolling blackouts have done to our economy. The first question any investor asks when considering South Africa is this: will I have a secure electricity supply? Energy security is thus. I'm giving my answer right now, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Energy security is therefore a crucial game changer which we are driving in partnership with the City of Cape Town under the Mayor's leadership. Other municipalities in the province have now also come on board, and I'd like to thank them for that. Now listen to this, Speaker. This is part of our answer, and it's a very important part of our answer. Already, the City of Cape Town's Steenbos Dam hydroelectric system has helped to avoid stage 1 load shedding in the Cape Metro. And that makes an enormous difference. We can guarantee secure supply to investors in Cape Town because of this proactivity by the city in using its hydroelectric capacity at Steenbos Dam to avoid stage 1 load shedding. Congratulations, Mayor. And this.
Order.
This is a new innovation with the old Steenbos Dam to prevent stage 1 load shedding. Stage 1 load shedding was never prevented under a previous administration. Maybe the Honourable the Opposition can tell me when they prevented stage 1 load shedding anywhere in the country. But of course, Madam Speaker, in order to prevent stage 1 load shedding, the city has to generate a significant amount of power, given that a single load shedding zone in the Cape Metro is equivalent to the total supply needed to power the rest of the province. That's how much we are generating locally. But the hydroelectric program is just a start. We need to diversify our energy mix so that we can create enough power for growth that is both sustainable and low carbon. To be successful, we need to sign power purchase agreements with independent power producers focusing on solar and wind energy and import liquefied natural gas into the province on a much larger scale. The City of Cape Town has applied for permission from the Department of Energy to procure power from IPPs. This approval is the key that unlocks the full potential of this game changer, and we trust that the Department of Energy will act in the public interest by making it easier to purchase independently produced power. Rooftop solar PV is currently generating 10 megawatts of power in the Cape Metro out of the total 82 megawatts this form of embedded generation produces nationally, and that's a wonderful proportion. Our game changer target is to add a further 120 megawatts over the next 3 years in the province from this power source. It is already possible, Madam Speaker, for users of rooftop PV to feed power back into the electricity grid in Cape Town as part of a pilot approved by the National Energy Regulator of South Africa. It is also possible for PV users in Drought municipality to feed power into the grid from PV, and we are making progress in partnership with other big municipalities to achieve the same outcome. And that on its own will be a massive game changer. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, because we can acknowledge George, Mossel Bay, Stellenbosch, Saldanha Bay, and a further 10 municipalities where we are preparing bylaws to enable this two-way reticulation. You can unpack whatever you like. We're ready for you. Mr. Deputy Speaker, in the interim, we are keenly awaiting the National Department of Energy's publication of the guidelines that will formalise this system. We understand that the department intends to release these guidelines next month. We hope it proves to be a major milestone in achieving energy security for the whole country. Besides a diversified energy mix, our ability to avoid load shedding will depend heavily on how energy efficient we can be. As a provincial government, we are taking the lead with a 30% reduction target in energy usage in government buildings by 2019. A 30% target. for the reduction in energy use. This project is being led by the Department of Transport and Public Works. We challenge householders and businesses and the honourable members of the opposition to do the same. The success of our energy game changer is integral to the Western Cape's journey to becoming the green economy hub of Africa. This province is now undeniably South Africa's headquarters of the renewable energy and technical services companies. 2/3 of South Africa's manufacturing investments in renewables are located in this province. That is 8 out of the country's 12 manufacturers. In 2012, we launched our vision for Atlantis to become a centre of this green hub. Working together with the City of Cape Town, a portion of Atlantis was established as a green manufacturing hub, and some incentives were offered. As a result, we have a significant investment in the manufacture of wind turbine towers by Spanish investor Gestamp. It initially invested 300 million rand and recently completed an expansion of 75 million more rand to add 30% more to their capacity. Gestamp have also attracted to Atlantis one of their suppliers, Resulux, a Danish company that manufactures wind turbine tower internals, whatever those things are, but they're now being manufactured in the Western Cape, which is wonderful. They have partnered with Mazama Mkwanazi in this venture. Siyavuyisana nawe, Mama. I don't know if Mazama is here, is she? Anywhere? No, she isn't. But that's really great, and we can say to her, warmest congratulations. On the basis of this strong foundation, we are seeking the designation of Atlantis as a special economic zone for green tech. We have made the submission to the DTI, and their determination is expected in April. Our West Coast industrial plan is also forging ahead. This is a partnership between 3 of our departments: economic development, environmental affairs and development planning, and public works, together with the Saldanha municipality and Green Cape, our special purpose vehicle. Honourable Speaker, we have discussed skills and energy security. Our next enabling game changer is broadband.
Order.
In July 2014, Mr. Deputy Speaker, we signed a 2.89 billion 10-year contract with the State Information and Technology Agency, SITA, and Neotel to connect over 1,900 public buildings to high-speed broadband. It is my pleasure, Deputy Speaker, to welcome our key partners, Neotel, represented by their Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Kennedy Mimani, and the SITA, represented by Deputy CEO, Mr. Mboneli Ndlangisa. Where are you, sirs? There you are. Thank you very much indeed.
Order, Premier, just 1 second. Honourable Lekker.
I spend so much time...
Order, Premier, just 1 second. There's a point. Is it a point of order? Honourable Lekker, I'm listening.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I would like you to caution the people sitting in the gallery, particularly the gentleman with the striped shirt and the lady next to the one who's wearing a yellow traditional suit, not to participate.
Order, Honourable Lekker.
Thank you.
You've made your point. The Speaker has ruled about that, and I can only order. I want to appeal again, if there are any people in the gallery who want to participate in the debate, this is not the time and place for that. You are here to listen to the debates. Premier, you may continue.
Now, you know, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I spend a lot of time...
Order.
I spend a lot of time criticising where I think criticism is due. But I also like to praise where praise is due. And Neotel and SITA have done us proud in the rollout. I like to give praise where praise is due, and the State Information Technology Agency has done us proud in the rollout of our broadband. And so has our partner company Neotel.
Order.
And so has our partner company Neotel, and I would like to thank them very much. We've worked very well together. Because they've improved. They've improved. Because criticism works. People sometimes listen to criticism and improve, Mr. Deputy Speaker. We are working together very well in partnership to roll out a public-private partnership that will have a catalytic impact on the growth of our economy. Infrastructure at over 1,000 sites has been completed to date, consisting of either wireless or fibre optic cable. The broadband service has been activated at over 900 of these sites. We have prioritised schools in particular. A total of 692 schools have been connected to date, as well as 92 libraries and 169 corporate sites. The service consists of connections ranging from 10 megabytes per second to 1 gigabyte per second, backed by a corporate-grade service level agreement to keep the system running optimally. Further key milestones include the establishment of a separate and distinct schools network, as well as a libraries network. The uptake of the internet capability within schools has been nothing short of astounding, as is evidenced by the following statistics since the establishment of the schools network, Deputy Speaker. We have had over 438 million hits on this network, over 377 million page views, over 17 terabytes. I've never heard of a terabyte, but nevertheless, over 17 terabytes of information that have been downloaded. An interesting phenomenon has been the extent to which the internet capability at schools has been complemented by the internet capability at libraries. And I just want to pause here, Mr. Deputy Speaker, to say one thing that I heard that was absolutely amazing. A library in Khayelitsha has the highest book takeout in the country, and I couldn't believe it. And when it has the highest book takeout in the whole country.
Order. Order.
And I thought that is absolutely marvelous. And I heard that what is attracting so many young people to the libraries is the internet capacity. And while they are waiting to use the internet, they take out the books and then they book out the books and take them home. So it's a wonderful complementary service. Usage?
Order, order, order. Order, please calm down. The Premier may continue.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Usage at libraries increases dramatically once learners leave the school premises and presumably utilize the internet at the local library. The statistics at libraries are as follows. Over 70 million hits from libraries, over 59 million page views, and over 2.5 terabytes of information. This just re-emphasizes the need for school computer centers to remain open in the afternoon and for children to have safe spaces to work on school premises, which is part of another game changer I will address shortly. Leveraging off the broadband capability is a managed email and calendaring solution for schools, which will be fully established and operational within the next 3 months. In March, we are launching the first 50 of over 380 public Wi-Fi hotspots where citizens can access limited free Wi-Fi. This is also in partnership with Neotel. To date, CETA has invested approximately 315 million rand in our broadband program, and Neotel has invested 186 million rand. The Economic Development Department also opened the doors of their first ICANN centres in Elsie's River last year, which is a public access facility providing citizens with free internet and digital training services. We understand the importance of connectivity in creating opportunity and opening up a world of knowledge for more young people. We also know that the way in which young people interact, engage and learn is changing, Deputy Speaker. That is why we are putting major resources behind e-learning as a game changer. Specifically, we are working to enhance the teaching and learning experience, predominantly in mathematics and language, of all Western Cape learners through the use of technology. Given the rate of increase in the Western Cape's pupil numbers, we are never going to be able to afford the number of teachers we need if we work on the old model. We will never be able to afford the number of teachers we need on the old model if they cannot rationalize the excess teachers in the Eastern Cape. And this means that e-learning will have to play an increasingly important complementary role to supplement the teachers in our schools. We aim to have free, high-speed internet available in all schools by the end of 2016. We delivered over 3,300 smart classrooms in the 2014 financial year, and will have delivered a great deal more by the end of this financial year in April. We have also launched an e-portal to open a treasure chest of free and relevant education resources, from tutorial videos to e-books to apps. This game changer requires a combination of the following factors: the creation of an e-culture in schools, backed by e-infrastructure. And that is very important. An e-culture is absolutely inclusive. Then you must have an e-admin system, Deputy Speaker, to run the school. And then you need well-trained e-teachers using e-technology and e-content in their lessons. We have a plan for each of these components. We are already seeing the results as we speak. It is my great pleasure, Deputy Speaker, to welcome Ms. Jolene Juries, the Foundation Phase Head of Department at Eros Special School, who joins us today. Where's Ms. Juries? There you are, Ms. Juries. A warm welcome to you. Based in Athlone, Eros Special School caters for learners who have specific learning difficulties or are physically challenged by cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, or genetic conditions. Ms. Juries has been using our learning management system for her learners for more than a year. She has become an expert at applying our smart classroom technologies to teach and is training her staff to do the same, and she says it's made an enormous difference. E-learning opens up opportunities that never existed before for learners with special needs to engage with educational content. We thank Ms. Juries and all teachers in our public schools who are pioneering innovative ways of using technology to prepare all our learners for the world of work in the 21st century. The 2015 National Senior Certificate results are evidence that the foundation we have laid over the years to improve the quality of education in our schools is starting to pay dividends. This is thanks to the hard work and dedication of all of our officials, teachers, learners, principals, and parents. Together, you have achieved an 84.7% matric pass rate, the highest in South Africa. And this is very important, Deputy Speaker, but frankly, the pass rate on its own is not the most important indicator of improvement. Let's look at a range of other indicators which tell us about quality, not only about quantity. Apart from the fact that a record number of 45,500 candidates passed their matric, the Western Cape achieved the highest retention rate in South Africa, 66.8% retention rate in 2015, which was up significantly from 63.8% in 2014. That is crucial, Deputy Speaker, because it shows we are managing to keep more children in school for longer. The bachelor pass rate has increased to 41.7%, a national record, with an unprecedented 100% of learners qualifying to access some form of higher education. And that was also Our pass rates for critical subjects were also the highest of all provinces. 74.9% of learners passed maths and 73.3% passed physical science. And Deputy Speaker, what thrills us most, Deputy Speaker, is that the improvements are particularly evident in schools serving disadvantaged communities.
Order.
I'm going to tell you now, honourable members of the opposition who can't stop howling and won't start listening because this is really hurting them. Since 2009, when we came to office, there has been a 10 to 15% increase in pass rates across quintile 1 to 3 schools, which are the poorest schools. Pass rates now average over 70% in schools attended by learners who come from the poorest backgrounds. We attribute this to a range of pro-poor programs that we continue to protect in the face of big budget cuts. In the last year, we spent 43.6 million rand to cover the claims submitted by qualifying parents seeking financial assistance with their school fees. An extensive food nutrition program is in place for no-fee schools in quintiles 1 to 3 and in quintiles 4 that meet the criteria. Daily transport is provided for more than 50,000 rural learners who live more than 5 kilometres from their nearest school.
Honourable Premier, just 1 second. Honourable Dugmore, these types of questions can be asked in the debate on Tuesday. You can't have a running commentary all the time. I know you've asked the question. The Premier has the right to continue. Premier, you may continue.
I will address safety in a moment, but the Honourable Dugmore knows better than most people that we have pioneered the school resource officer system, which is having a very good impact on school safety, which is an innovation from when the opposition was in government. Now, I was talking about the 50,000 learners who get transport, free transport to school if they live more than 5 kilometres away from the school. And an alternative to subsidised transport is subsidised hostel accommodation where this is preferable. Besides the annual national assessments, we conduct our own systemic tests based on international benchmarks, and we're the only province that does that, international benchmarks in maths and language. These tests provide invaluable data which we incorporate into the improvement plans that all schools are required to have. We have seen steady improvement over the last 5 years, not enough, but it has been steady. And this is against international high benchmarks. To date, grade 3 maths results have improved from 47% to over 57%. Grade 6 from a dismal 23% to over 37%, and grade 9 from 10% to more than 22%. And these are measured against competitive international standards, which other provinces, Mr. Deputy Speaker, don't even dare to try. This is, of course, not nearly good enough yet, but it is significant movement in the right direction, and we are the only province that measures our children's literacy and numeracy by international standards. Language results are following the same trend. Grade 3 results are up by 12 percentage points. Grade 6 results by 5.3 percentage points, and grade 9 results by 8.8 percentage points. This year, we will continue to advance the public-private operating partners known as collaboration schools. This is a new model of schooling that brings additional education management skills and innovation into the public school system. We believe these non-profit partnerships have the potential to improve the quality of teaching and learning in no-fee public schools. Minister Schaefer has released extensive details on this project and will continue to drive it. This initiative has the potential to become the greatest game changer of them all. Which brings me to what happens after schools. This is another game changer. In order to have responsible working young adults, we recognize the importance of extramural activities such as sport, cultural activities, and the benefits of positive adult role models. Many parents are working, many are absent, and our children leave the school day to enter unsafe, violent neighborhoods and empty homes. This province has therefore focused on the provision of quality after-school programs in safe spaces, and this project has been prioritized as one of our game changers. And it would be very, very nice for the honourable members who are interjecting all the time if the people they keep promoting, which is the SATU teachers, would participate in the after-school programs as well, Mr. Deputy Speaker, as most of the other unions do. We are aiming to provide over 112,000 learners in no-fee schools with access to safe, quality after-school programs by 2019.
Order.
This is more than double the 50,000 learners who currently enjoy access to these programs. Achieving scale in our after-school program is only possible through a whole-of-society approach and will succeed if government partners with a host of NGOs already working in the sector throughout the province. An advantage we have is the extensive infrastructure already in place to support this program. There are 180 mass opportunity and development centres operating on school property by the Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport, 5 youth cafes, and 93 partial care centres run by the Department of Social Development and its partners, as well as scores of libraries and hubs run by the City of Cape Town. Our aim is to turn this advantage into an opportunity for more young people to advance themselves in a safe, connected, high-quality learning environment. The 4 pillars of our after-schools program are academic support, including e-learning, life skills, arts and culture, and sport. This year, we will be expanding our infrastructure by building 5 mod clusters, and those are education precincts that will form new centres of positive social activities in communities. The clusters will include safe walkways and cycle lanes, which will link several schools to a hub of sports facilities, security, and quality educational programming. We will develop these clusters in 5 areas where children's safety is a major concern: Nyanga Junction, Manenberg, Scottsdene, Paarl East, and Atlantis. It is my pleasure to welcome one of the stalwarts of our after-schools program here today, and his name is Mr. Xolile Mlungu, and he is one of my special guests. Mr. Xolile Mlungu, thank you very much, sir. Mr. Mlungu is a program officer managing 24 mod centres in the Metro Southeast District. He's an example of a public servant who really makes a difference because he is doing what he loves and he's doing it really well. He's a manager and also a coach at club level for athletics teams competing in provincial league structures, and he brings that coaching passion to our mod centres and his management skills. Thank you very much indeed. Because of public servants like Mr. Mlungu, young people at our mod centres are recognised nationally for their achievements in a diverse range of sports, from softball to chess. We thank Xolile and all our mod programme officers for the excellent work they are doing. Honourable Speaker, the game-changing programmes we are discussing today are as much about owning the future as they are about fixing our past. I've said that our long-term vision is a highly skilled, innovation-driven, resource-efficient, connected, high-opportunity society for all. And there are 2 very important words in this vision that you have just repeated, and they are for all. Ngabantu bonke. The planners of the past had exclusion and discrimination as their priority, and their legacy is the extent of the social problems we have today. Cape Town is a city that is trying hard to overcome the spatial planning model that apartheid entrenched so deeply.
That's why the mayor is supporting these developers in
Thanks to our partnership with the private sector, the Cape Town inner city has regenerated at an accelerated pace compared to any other South African city. This has been overwhelmingly positive, but has had one negative consequence, which is the escalation of property prices beyond the reach of most people, including middle-class people. Demand for affordable housing closer to the city bowl is an important priority for a functional city. I'm just going to repeat that, Mr. Deputy Speaker, because with the Honourable Joseph wanting to come and confiscate land, I can offer a much better solution, which will give access without destroying the economy. We don't plan to destroy the economy and jobs by confiscating land. Demand for affordable housing closer to the city bowl is an important priority for a functional city. Yes, it is. And this can be achieved more effectively if the state complements the market mechanism appropriately. So we believe in complementing the market mechanism, but we don't believe in simply confiscating property. We have to create a much more inclusive city at a time of resource scarcity. This requires innovation. Despite years of delay, the redevelopment of District 6 is now well underway and into its third phase. District 6 is one of the best located pieces of vacant land in the country and is earmarked for restitution.
Order.
We have the opportunity to ensure that District 6 becomes a symbol of the integrated society that apartheid sought to destroy. We will bring it back. Perhaps because it is such a jewel, the development has attracted vested interests and political gatekeeping. But since Minister Gugile Nkwinti took over the portfolio of restitution nationally, things have worked far better. And now the claimants are engaging in the detail of redevelopment. Progress is at last being made. And I give credit to Minister Nkwinti because I give credit where credit is due. Besides funding the enormous resources needed to build an integrated and multi-story suburb on the slopes of Table Mountain, our next challenge is to accommodate the late claimants who have until the 30th of June 2019 to lodge their claims. This means District 6 will continue to be developed as a precinct and precinct by precinct until all those who should rightfully return are accommodated there. Over the last year, there's been major progress in our plans to redevelop the well-located urban site in District 6, where we're into our third phase, but also in the enormous site where the Conradie Hospital once was. The site is 22 hectares in size, Honourable Joseph, and is adjacent to the suburb of Pinelands and Thornton, and surrounded by access to good public transport. A total of 22 hectares of well-located urban land is a fantastic space in which to launch this game changer. We have called it the Better Living Model because of its potential to pioneer a new approach to inclusive urban development, not just for Cape Town, but for all South African cities that have similar apartheid-era spatial challenges. The scoping phase is complete, and recommendations were signed off by Cabinet in December 2015 by the deadline for the Conradie site to be transformed into a mixed-use, mixed-income, mixed-tenure, residentially led development. It will be an innovative partnership between the provincial government and the City of Cape Town, social housing institutions, and private developers. We are proposing the construction of more than 3,000 residential units, as well as business premises, schools, and safe green public spaces on the site, all with access to efficient, integrated public transport. In line with our live, work, play philosophy, this site is large enough to accommodate an integrated living community of people right on the doorstep of the City Bowl. This will be a multi-billion rand investment that will stimulate economic growth and jobs, and we estimate that at least one job will be created for every 1 million rand spent on this development. Another key objective is the provision of housing for a variety of income groups, from bonded properties to more affordable state-subsidised housing options on the site. There are thousands of people living in the province who earn too much to receive a free house, but yet do not qualify for a bank bond to buy one. We hope to show through this development that state subsidies in partnership with the private sector can offer meaningful housing opportunities to these citizens. If we get this right, we can make a major contribution towards addressing the country's housing backlog. The Better Living Model Game Changer has the potential to be attractive to a diverse community that chooses to live on this well-located land, as opposed to a community that is obliged to live there. This is an important principle for the sustainability of the development, as residents will share responsibility for the success of this new model. Ministers Zille and Drought will hold a press conference next week to elaborate on the details of how the development process will unfold. There are many different ways we can apply this model, Deputy Speaker. Many different ways we can apply this model. Deputy Speaker, I listened to the President's State of the Nation address and was particularly interested to hear him say it would make a lot of sense to have one city as the seat of government in order to save money for the fiscus. I was amused that some people immediately assumed that this would mean moving Parliament from Cape Town. But if the President's motive is genuinely to save money, it should be the other way around. The administrative capital should move to Cape Town. I have tasked Ministers Windy, Grant and Riddell to build on existing work in relation to inner-city regeneration plans to make concrete proposals for a public-private partnership to locate major government administrative buildings and high-density parliamentary residential accommodation in the approximately 3 hectares available for development in close proximity to our current Parliament. We have Mr. Deputy Speaker, we have approximately 3 hectares of land in walking distance to our current Parliament. We can build high-rise administrative buildings, and we can use the Better Living model to build much more densified living spaces for parliamentarians and for cabinet ministers at the very top. And then what we can do is save an enormous amount on blue light brigades and private jets, because parliamentarians can walk to work. They can walk to work. They don't have to have blue light brigades, Mr. Deputy Speaker. They don't have to have blue light brigades. They can walk to work. And they can contribute. They can contribute.
Order.
They can contribute to creating the new urban form that we're looking for. And we could sell all those posh ministerial homes, including Leeuwenhof, and I, as Premier, will be the first to move to that higher density, because in that way we will release much valuable real estate for sale and defray the costs of building the government precinct, which could also be subvented by the build, operate and transfer model undertaken by the private sector. There's been such a noise.
Order, Premier. Just 1 second.
There's been such a noise.
Order. There's too much noise in the house now, please. Please calm down before the Premier continues. Premier, you may continue.
there was so much noise that I would just like to repeat that, Mr. Deputy Speaker, if you don't mind. The proposal is that we take the 3 hectares approximately that are available in close proximity to Parliament and build a model to present to the President and the National Cabinet of how we can save South Africa billions by building, in partnership with the private sector, an administrative hub of government nationally in walking distance to Parliament, with ministerial residences on the top, with a beautiful 360-degree view of the most beautiful view anywhere in the world.
Order.
Sell off all the luxury ministerial property, save billions of rands, and make government much cheaper.
Order, Premier. Order. Premier, just take your seat. Order. Order. Honourable Chief Whip.
Deputy Speaker, I wonder if I may address you on this matter of the constant interruptions, please. Yesterday, the President, in his reply, asked that we be respectful and dignified and allowed to state our case. This he pleaded with the nation. I ask.
Order.
Contributions from the other side are neither clever nor constructive. They're simply crude and rude.
Thank you, Member.
And with due respect, Speaker, you've asked for order many times. I asked that the Premier be allowed to complete her address uninterrupted.
Yes, thank you, Honourable Chief Whip. Honourable Chacha, I'm not going to allow a long discussion about this. It's a fact. This Premier must be allowed to continue his speech. He may make interjections, but not running commentary. That's the
agree,
point.
but he must treat honourable members as honourable members.
Yes,
Member
all members.
Don't say those words.
Please take your seat. All members are honourable members, and please, may I appeal to the House? May I appeal to the House now, please, to allow the Premier the freedom to continue his speech. Premier, you may continue.
Thank you very much. Minister Madiki Zille mentioned to me in the little recess that we've just had whether it would be possible to put a fire pool on the top deck. We'll certainly put that into the plan. We would also save a fortune.
Order.
We would also save a fortune in security costs by having to secure just one precinct, not many different residences. I would like to propose to the President that he ask the Gauteng government to submit comparable proposals for Tshwane or Midrand or anywhere else, and compare the cost-effectiveness of locating South Africa's seat of government in Cape Town or Pretoria or Midrand, if this is indeed the primary motivation, if he wants to save money. We are up to the challenge, Mr. President. Honourable Speaker, we are also driving several other catalytic projects in this province in partnership with municipalities. We have signed a memorandum of cooperation with the Kingdom of the Netherlands for expert support to be provided to the Two Rivers Urban Park project. This is another mixed-use development of residential and commercial opportunities situated on 120 hectares of land at the confluence of the Liesbeek and Black Rivers. The Provincial Human Settlements Department has several more projects in the planning and implementation phase when it comes to housing, and their targets are so big that I'm going to do my best to keep a focus as I'm reading them. Because I know that there are many factors that derail housing delivery, none more so than ongoing internal conflict within communities. But the big target that we have is in the southern corridor over the end of our term. Southern corridor on the N2 phase 2, over 50,000. The northeastern corridor in the city of Cape Town, over 20,000. In Thembalethu George, 15,000. Transhex in Worcester, 7,300. Vlakkeland in Paarl, 3,200. Louis Fourie corridor, Mossel Bay, over 3,000. De Novo Stellenbosch, 2,300. Vredenburg urban regeneration, Saldanha Bay, over 1,100. That means the department has an overall delivery target of over 104,000 housing opportunities by the end of our term in 2019. that it is a target and it is a major yardstick. It is a major yardstick that we've put out here today, and it is the leader of government business and the leader of the House, the Honourable Madiki Zelle's
Honourable Jantji,
responsibility
please.
to make sure that we deliver it. Honourable Speaker, last year I highlighted sanitation as a significant, sensitive issue that needed specific attention. The City of Cape Town is taking up this issue as part of its integrated human settlements framework developed in collaboration with the provincial government. The framework aims to address by 2032 the Metro's overall projected housing backlog of over 500,000 households. A key feature of this framework is the upgrading of informal settlements program. By 2032, over 143,000 households are expected to be reached at an estimated cost of over 30 billion rand. The current number of households in informal settlements in the Metro is just under 150,000. And this program must be led by the city because sanitation is a local government mandate. Honourable Speaker, community development goes beyond putting basic infrastructure in place. To bring about meaningful change to the social problems in our communities, we need a whole-of-society approach. Over the last year, we have worked on refining our approach towards the problem of alcohol abuse in the Western Cape. The scale of the human tragedy caused by excessive drinking and the cost to the economy of excessive drinking makes alcohol harms reduction an essential game changer for all of us. It is also the most challenging and intractable social problem we face. Alcohol is the common denominator in so many tragedies in this province. In the majority of trauma cases that land up in our hospitals, no fewer than 80% of emergency incidents during the 2015 festive season were a result of injuries caused by interpersonal violence, usually alcohol or drug-related. Alcohol is also the driver behind 4 out of the 5 major burdens of disease in our health system. There is an enormous social benefit just waiting to be realized for any community where the sale of alcohol is properly regulated and residents are involved and actively encourage each other to drink less. Our goal is specifically focused on reducing alcohol-related harms through the creation of strong communities and safer neighbourhoods, starting with 3 pilots. In Lingulethu West, Khayelitsha, in Gunya, Gugulethu and Nyanga, and in Drakensberg, Smarty Town, Fairyland and Groenheuwel. We are approaching this from 3 angles. One, which is essential, is to reduce access to alcohol. Another is to increase the diversity of recreational and economic activity that is not alcohol dependent. And the third is directed at treatment for people who have problems. Signalling our seriousness to reduce access to alcohol, the Cabinet has resolved that from April this year, the Western Cape Liquor Authority will be located within the Department of Community Safety and not the Department of Economic Development and Tourism. Because we want to signal by that move the great problem that the indiscriminate promotion of alcohol use has created. While it is a critical part of our economy, we have to make sure that the safety and security aspects take precedence. In addition, we have already activated a new approach to neighbourhood watches, premised on a strengthened partnership to support law enforcement and better cohesion within communities around initiatives to reduce access to alcohol and their related harms. A strong partnership with SAPS is critical to our success, and we are confident that our new Provincial Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Kombinkosi Jula, is committed to this. He's here today. I would like to know where he is. He's not here today. Okay. Is General Patakile here? Oh, where's General Patakile? Oh, there's General. Thank you, General Patakile. Thank Thank you very much, General Patekile. We've had the great honour and privilege of working for about a year with General Patekile, and we want to give him great credit and great honour for the professional, independent policeman that he is. Thank you very much, sir. An important element to our alcohol harms reduction strategy is to promote access to economic alternatives for traders who would otherwise be selling liquor. If we want people to drink less, they need to have access to recreation and entertainment alternatives. These must be attractive to our youth, who are most at risk of alcohol abuse. You know, Mr. Deputy Speaker, they are howling and carrying on. I could tell them at least 5 or 6 programs, and Younger Yetu has been focused exclusively on ensuring that our young people don't have to get drunk and kill each other on Fridays and Saturday nights. We intend to crowd in more community-based organisations, NGOs, entrepreneurs, and local government to develop a new platform of opportunities, together with a campaign to mobilise resources to support them. We have a good foundation on which to build. Over the past 5 years, we have been developing some key programs to support the youth, a major target group of the alcohol game changer. To name just a few, the Department of Community Safety's Youth Safety Religious Partnership, which now includes over 140 religious institutions from over 50 geographical areas across the province, reaching 24,135 youth during school holidays last year. This year, we will train a further 1,200 youth through the Chrysalis and Wolverkloof academies before placing them in community safety-related employment for 9 months of work experience. We have a long way to go in this game changer, and as we know, it is very difficult to deal with an entrenched culture. But we have to give it our best shot to ensure that the young people of this province can make use of their opportunities and respect their own bodily integrity and the bodily integrity and rights of other people. Honourable Speaker, I now turn to another major front in the battle to reduce alcohol harms: our roads. This is not formally part of our game changer, but it's a critical component of the damages done in our society. Alcohol continues to be a leading factor in our road fatalities. Provincial traffic officers have been issued with handheld devices that are fast information verifying tools that support enforcement on our roads. The devices now allow traffic officers real-time access to the automatic number plate recognition camera system, which is linked to the eNartis database where all vehicle and driver information is stored. The devices and cameras also serve as information gathering tools for deploying resources to areas where the need is greatest. The speed over distance cameras went live on major routes, including the N1, N2, R27 and R101 in the last quarter of 2015. It is likely that evidentiary breath alcohol testing, commonly known as the Draeger breathalyzer device, will soon return to our roads, following a due diligence assessment by our legal services. So be very careful. The Draeger is coming back. While a recent study shows that the majority of patients accessing treatment centres in the province are seeking help with alcohol abuse, this is just one part of the substance abuse problem that we have in the Western Cape. Over the last 5 years, we have more than doubled our budget for substance abuse, with funding increasing and now exceeding 92 million rand in this year alone, which is devoted to our substance abuse prevention and rehabilitation sub-program. The Social Development Department has more than trebled substance abuse treatment sites from 7 in 2009 to 25 today. In June last year, the Kensington Treatment Centre became the province's first women-only rehabilitation centre. Our treatment programs can only succeed in partnership with law enforcement, Deputy Speaker. The Western Cape accounts for 32.2% of all drug-related crimes in South Africa, according to the latest crime statistic, and that is a terrible indictment. Drug crime is deeply associated with gang activity, with close to 50% of all violent contact crime cases in the metro being concentrated in a handful of precincts, many of which are also plagued by gang activity. There is a major deficit. There is a major deficit in policing resources in the Western Cape, with police to population ratios in excess of 1 police officer to 700 residents in some of the precincts hardest hit by crime.
Order.
To put this in perspective, Deputy Speaker, the national average police to population ratio is 1 officer to 328 people. In some of our worst affected precincts, it is 1 to 700. That is half as many policemen in relation to population in some of our most crime-ridden areas, which is an absolute scandal. The mandate for policing falls within the national government. And we welcome Commissioner Jula's stated commitment to fighting crime and gang violence, in particular in communities that are the worst affected. We work very well with the national government, Mr. Deputy Speaker, and we work particularly well with the Western Cape Police under Commissioner Patakile, and we hope to continue doing it under Commissioner
Order. Order.
We welcome President Zuma's reported announcement in his reply to the State of the Nation address on the reintroduction of the specialised drug and gun units. Thank you very much. We've been asking for this for a very long time. This, Deputy Speaker, is an enormous step forward, ironically, to get back to the point that we were at 10 years ago. The City of Cape Town has, with very limited resources, shown just how effective specialised units can be in combating flare-ups in gang violence. The stabilisation unit introduced in Manenberg in July 2015 has had an impact on reducing periods of gang-related violence. Between July and November 2015, the unit's presence resulted in a reduction of gang shootings in Manenberg from up to 3 shootings per day to just 1 shooting in 4 months. As a provincial government, we have stretched our oversight powers over policing to limits not tested before in the history of our democracy. The Office of the Police Ombudsman, Advocate Vusi Pikoli,
Order. Premier, you may continue.
The Office of the Police Ombudsman, Advocate Vusi Pikoli, is now fully operational, and we encourage the public to make use of this office for complaints relating to policing inefficiency or the possible breakdown in the relationship between police and communities. In the coming year, we will also step up our monitoring of police conduct at prosecution stage by expanding our watching briefs program to 25 courts. This is a most innovative program and has increased the rate of criminal convictions by acting as a catalyst towards effective policing and the production of the evidence that will stand up in court. In the first quarter of 2015-16 alone, our watching brief unit successfully observed 28 court cases, including cases of possession of firearms, aggravated robbery, murder, and attempted murder, where policing inefficiencies were present. And such inefficiencies were, for example, 9 cases of dockets not being available at court, 19 cases of failure of the investigating officer to timeously complete the investigation, and various others. And as a result, SAPS, the South African Police Service, has indicated that at least 8 internal disciplinary cases have arisen out of the watching briefs that we conduct in our courts. This is a crucial form of oversight, Mr. Deputy Speaker. I've spoken about the budget cuts by national government that will place immense pressure on frontline service delivery. This brings me to our biggest budget item of all, health. Our health facilities are experiencing a steady rise in patient numbers, with a 2% year-on-year rise in emergency centres. Our provincial population is increasing annually in the face of shrinking budgets in real terms. It is quite an incredible statistic to consider, Deputy Speaker, but it is a fact. Between the census of 1996 and that of 2011, that is over a 15-year period, the city of Cape Town grew in population by 45%. The resources available in real terms have not kept pace. To give you an idea of the volume of services delivered, over 103,000 babies were born in our facilities last year, and over 170,000 operations were conducted. Every single baby and every single patient is equally important to us, Deputy Speaker. As it stands, we are committing over 800 million rand towards health infrastructure over the next 3 years. Almost 40% of this budget will go towards maintaining our existing facilities to the highest possible standard. Given our budget limitations, we understand how vital it is to strengthen primary health care and to use our limited resources as efficiently as possible. Higher patient loads at our facilities can cause patient dissatisfaction in some cases, most commonly because of waiting times, and in some cases also unrealistic expectations. There is a hotline for queries and complaints. Provincial legislation also now provides for an independent health complaints committee as a means for more serious complaints to be dealt with transparently and credibly. The truth is that our facilities would be under far less pressure if residents began taking greater responsibility for their personal well-being. Over 54% of patients in the provincial public health system have more than 2 preventable chronic diseases each. Preventable diseases. The inescapable conclusion is that if they looked after their own health, they would not have to be patients at all. We are increasingly placing an emphasis on preventing disease, and this means people must take responsibility for their lifestyles. Our initiatives include the Western Cape on Wellness project to encourage healthy lifestyles and the First 1,000 Days project to create awareness of child healthcare essentials. We have a vital resource in our 3,500 community health workers contracted primarily through our non-profit partners. They will increasingly play a bigger role in working with communities to prevent illness, not just to treat it. We will support them with training and ensure a greater presence of workers in each geographic area. Our healthcare system, Deputy Speaker, is only as good as the people who staff it. They are the ones working day in and day out to provide a quality service to 75% of the provincial population. There is a long history of innovation in Western Cape health facilities. After all, the world's first heart transplant took place here, and the CAT scan, and very few people know this, the CAT scan was invented by a scientist from Cape Town. In the past year, our doctors have achieved more world firsts using cutting-edge technology. And I refer here to little Maslino Frank from Mannenberg, who was born prematurely and suffered extensive bleeding on his brain. In a first for neurosurgery, doctors at the Red Cross Children's Hospital performed a laser-assisted procedure which allowed them to operate on little Maslino using camera and video technology that does not require major cuts to access delicate parts of the brain. And for me, that is as big as the world's first heart transplant. And I would like to congratulate those dedicated doctors and nurses and support staff at the Red Cross Children's Hospital. A team of doctors from Tygerberg Hospital and Stellenbosch University also performed the world's first successful, life-saving and cost-effective skin culture transplant. Groote Hospital now hosts the Access to Care program, the leading edge of radiotherapy training globally. Advanced computer technology is used to create a virtual environment where students can use software to practice complex treatment plans. These are just some of the many success stories coming out of our health facilities, and all praise must go to the healthcare professionals who are performing miracles and saving lives daily. But Speaker, innovation is not just about world firsts. It is also about offering quality care under high-pressured circumstances. For that reason, I want to thank all the healthcare professionals doing the best they can in very difficult circumstances every day. It is my pleasure here to welcome Helene Human, or Helena Human, the manager of the Alan Blythe Hospital in Ladysmith. Where are you, ma'am? There you are. Please, will you stand up so everyone can see you? The quality of rural healthcare in many parts of the country remains a major risk for patients. But Helen and her staff are showing that it is possible to achieve a world-class rural health facility in the poorest circumstances. Many people, like her, labour unseen in their daily commitment to serve all the citizens of our province, and we rarely get to hear about them. But in the case of the hospital that Mrs. Human manages, I'm grateful to Jack Lewis, interestingly enough, for taking the time to write up his personal experience of taking a farm worker to this hospital on a Sunday. In Jack's words, and I quote, "I chatted to a nurse who told me how in the past there were often medicine stockouts, but no more. Now what the staff needed was always at hand. The hospital itself was clean, freshly painted, and the beds and equipment had recently been modernized. Everything appeared to be in working order." And then he says, "The Western Cape is showing that with proper management, a huge difference can be made in the quality of service delivery. Thank you for helping us to build a capable state." Years ago, Alan Blythe was a run-down facility that was rarely frequented by a doctor. Today, it is a well-maintained institution with doctors regularly on duty, a full-time radiographer, and caring staff who run efficient patient management systems. In a time of limited resources and great demand for our services, Mrs. Human and her team are showing how genuinely caring about patient well-being can make an immense difference. Thank you on behalf of the public that you serve. And now, as a final topic, I would like to share with you some of the important nation-building initiatives that our Cultural Affairs and Sport Department is undertaking. In a time of social volatility, I can tell the Honourable Dugmore that a very important announcement is coming in that regard soon, but in the meantime he can wait and raise his points in the debate on Tuesday. Thank you.
Order. Continue,
In a
Premier.
time of social volatility and racially charged debate in South Africa, we must not forget the good work that is quietly being done to advance social cohesion and celebrate diversity in our society, in our country, and in our province. During Heritage Month, we officially launched the new Cape Town Museum in Adderley Street. The museum is a new generation institution that offers innovative ways for local residents and tourists to interact with collections, showcasing our unique heritage and diversity. It will become a key access point for people to obtain an overview of the history and development of their city, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The approach to exhibitions is entirely demand-driven, and we are inviting submissions from the public on what they would most like to see on display. We have also launched our oral history program, a project aimed at documenting the wonderful stories of Western Cape residents for future generations. Yes, you can come and tell your story. The Honourable Davids, if she has a story, can come and tell it to our Honourable program here, that in fact is capturing the Honourable Minister David's concerns, and she can come and tell her story, and it will be captured in the oral history project. Much of the history of our communities is preserved only in the minds of their storytellers. To truly understand our past from a unique perspective, we felt it important to run a formal program to capture the valuable stories beneath our social tapestry. And as I say, there must be all the stories, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Language, Deputy Speaker, is the foundation of all human understanding. We create our existence and give it meaning through words, which change and develop all the time. In the past year, I'm delighted to say that our language unit launched the official isiXhosa terminology for chess. By standardizing these terms, we are capturing the color of this beautiful language and promoting its popular use amongst all South Africans. We now know that the official isiXhosa word for checkmate, skalkmaat, is utinjiwe. Do you know that? Uyayazi? Uyayazi? Utinjiwe. Checkmate, friend. Skalkmaat. Soon we will launch. Soon, we will be launching the official terminology for the game of cricket. I'm waiting to see what batting to silly point is in Xhosa. In the meantime, I can tell you that the isiXhosa term for bien voor paltjie is, what is it? Intonle? Bien voor paltjie, LBW. LBW. Ukusita utinti. Ukusita utinti. Vuka maulele, ukusita utinti.
Order.
And the phrase that every player loves shouting at the umpire, how's that is? Kunjani. Kunjani. I hope they show us what how's that is in Afrikaans too. You could say, who's it? Honourable Speaker, today I have presented our strategy for economic growth and job creation. Our strategy is underpinned. Mr. Deputy Speaker, there was an interjection that just said that when I spoke about job creation and economic growth, I've said nothing about empowering. Mr. Deputy Speaker and colleagues, the most empowering thing that anybody can have is a job. The most empowering thing and the thing that most drives economic inclusion is when a person gets a job. Our strategy is underpinned by game-changing programs focused on vital economic leaders, from skills, energy security and broadband, to e-learning, after-school programs, better living models, and alcohol harms reduction. Deputy Speaker, we have covered a lot of ground since taking office in 2009.
Order, Premier, just 1 second. Order. Honourable Doug Moore. Honourable Doug Moore. Order. Honourable Doug Moore, I'm addressing you. You raised that question, and when the Premier replies, you make comments all the time. Please respect the Premier's response. Premier may continue.
Deputy Speaker, thank you. We have covered a lot of ground since taking office in 2009, and we are now in a phase of delivering on the stretch targets we have set ourselves in line with our long-term vision. And they are stretch targets, and we're going to have to work really, really hard to achieve them. But let me say again, we are working for the Western Cape to succeed because we all passionately want South Africa to succeed. I am more optimistic about our future than I have ever been before. 2016 is another election year, Speaker. Let us use this opportunity to build, not break down. Let us show the world we are a functional democracy that plays by the rules and that takes nation building seriously. It is everyone's responsibility to put our country first. Thank you very much.
Order. 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 The innings is almost finished, not quite yet, Premier. In terms of Rule 15 of the Standing Rules, the Premier's address will be placed on the order paper for debate. I understand there was an agreement in the Programming Authority about the sitting hours on Tuesday. Honourable Chief Whip.
Speaker, that notwithstanding the provision of Rule 18, the hours of the sitting on Tuesday, the 23rd of February 2016 shall be 10 o'clock to adjournment.
No objection to the motion being moved without notice. No objection to the motion itself. The motion is agreed to. The House will start at 10 o'clock on Tuesday. Members and order. Members and guests are requested to remain in their seats while the procession leaves the chamber. You're also invited to finger lunch hosted in the members' lounge on this floor after the adjournment of the House. That concludes the business for the day. The House is adjourned.